It doesn't matter if you're seeking professional success, health, prosperity, or even more harmony in your relationships. The power of habits in creating the life we desire is so powerful, just as our mentor Joe Dispenza teaches us. When you think of the word habit, what comes to mind? Perhaps you think of simple things like brushing your teeth in the morning, having coffee, or going to the gym. But habits are much more than repetitive actions. They are, in fact, the fundamental pieces that shape our identity and, consequently, our reality. Joe Dispenza teaches that a large part of our daily actions and decisions are governed by unconscious behavior patterns. It's estimated that up to 95% of our thoughts, emotions, and actions are automatic, programmed by mental and emotional habits that we repeat daily. In other words, most of what we do, think, and feel in our daily lives results from past conditioning, which often no longer serves our growth. How many times have you wished to change something important in your life, like reaching a goal or improving an aspect of your health, only to find yourself repeating the same behavior patterns? These patterns can include procrastination, self-sabotage, or even the belief that you're not capable of achieving what you truly desire. All of this is deeply rooted in our habits. Joe Dispenza bases his teachings on the science of neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to reorganize and form new neural connections throughout life. This means the brain is not static. On the contrary, it is constantly changing and adapting according to the stimuli it receives, whether thoughts, emotions, or actions. Every time you think in a certain way or repeat a behavior, you are strengthening a network of neurons in your brain. Over time, these neural networks become automatic patterns, and these patterns turn into your habits. If you always think negatively about your abilities, for example, your brain creates and strengthens those neural connections, making these thoughts more frequent and automatic. The same goes for any emotional or behavioral pattern. When you repeat certain thoughts and feelings every day, they become the foundation of your belief system, shaping how you act in the world. Now, why is this important for achieving your goals? Because to achieve any meaningful goal, you need to align your thoughts, emotions, and actions with the outcome you desire. If you're stuck in old habits of thinking, feeling, and acting in ways that aren't aligned with your goals, it's nearly impossible to achieve what you want. Most people live on autopilot, unaware that their habits are determining what they experience daily. Joe Dispenza explains that if you wake up every morning thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and making the same decisions, you are likely to keep recreating the same reality. This is why so many people feel trapped in their lives, unable to break out of repetitive cycles of frustration. In your own life, think about the goals you have, whether it's achieving a promotion at work, improving your health, increasing your financial gains, or enhancing your relationships. Now ask yourself, what habits are governing my thoughts and actions daily? Are these habits bringing me closer to or further from my goals? The hard truth is that if you continue thinking, feeling, and acting the same way, you're likely to keep getting the same results. To change your reality, you need to change your habits. And this is where Joe Dispenza's powerful teaching comes in. You need to consciously take control of your mind. Joe Dispenza teaches that the first step to reaching your goals is to stop living on autopilot and start making conscious decisions about how you think and act. This involves becoming more aware of the thoughts that pass through your mind every day. Many of us don't realize that we are constantly self-sabotaging with thoughts of doubt, fear, and insecurity. These thoughts are mental habits that have been formed over the years, often based on negative past experiences. Just as these habits were formed, they can also be changed. The practice of observing your thoughts is fundamental. When you become aware of the thoughts you are having, you begin to identify which are aligned with your goals and which are pulling you away from them. You are not obligated to believe every thought that arises in your mind. Joe Dispenza reminds us that we have the power to choose what to focus on and what we will allow to shape our reality. Now that we understand the importance of habits and the role they play in creating our reality, let's talk about the transformative habit that can help you achieve your goals. This habit involves elevating your mind and emotions daily so they are aligned with the future you want to create. Joe Dispenza explains that to change your reality, you must first change your mental and emotional state. This means adopting the habit of thinking, feeling, and acting as if you've already achieved your goals. It's an internal reprogramming process where you train your brain and body to live in alignment with your goal, even before it's manifested in the external world. This is the habit that will make all the difference. Instead of waiting for external circumstances to change in order to feel good or successful, you begin to feel, think, and act like the person who has already achieved their goals. And by doing this, you start creating the internal conditions that attract the opportunities and resources needed to transform your reality. So if you want to transform your life and achieve your goals, you first need to understand the power of your brain. This statement from Joe Dispenza is fundamental for understanding the role of habits in creating our reality. We all have dreams, desires, and goals, but often we find ourselves stuck in behavior patterns that prevent us from achieving success. Why does this happen? According to Dispenza, the answer lies in the mechanisms of our brain. The science behind habit formation helps us understand how the brain becomes the primary influencer of what we do, think, and feel. Neuroscience explains that the brain is a habit-forming machine. It shapes our actions based on established, often unconscious patterns. These habits can be the key to success or the obstacle that keeps us stuck. One of the most important discoveries of modern neuroscience, which Joe Dispenza explores in depth, is neuroplasticity. This term refers to the brain's ability to change, reorganize, and create new neural connections throughout life. In other words, your brain is flexible and adaptable, and it can be shaped according to the experiences, thoughts, and emotions you cultivate. Contrary to what was once believed, the brain is not a fixed structure. Scientists used to think that the brain stopped developing after a certain age, and that once a neural pattern was formed, it remained forever. But today we know that this isn't true. The brain continues to remodel and adapt throughout life, and this means you can change the patterns that aren't helping you achieve your goals. How does this work in practice? Every time you think, feel, or perform an action, your brain activates certain networks of neurons. When these thoughts or behaviors are repeated frequently, the neural connections associated with them become stronger, faster, and more automatic. This is what creates a habit. Over time, these established neural patterns become paths that the brain follows automatically, without you having to consciously think about them. This is both a blessing and a challenge. On the one hand, it allows us to automate simple, everyday tasks like driving a car or brushing our teeth. But on the other hand, it also keeps us stuck in negative patterns like procrastination, self-sabotage, or constant doubt. The good news is that you can change these patterns. The automatic habits that define our lives. Our habits are the building blocks of our identity and reality. If you wake up every day thinking the same thoughts, feeling the same emotions, and taking the same actions, the result is that your life continues to follow the same course. In other words, your brain is constantly reinforcing the reality you already know, which makes it difficult to break out of this cycle. Imagine, for example, that your goal is to achieve more financial success. But every time you think about taking actions that could lead you to that goal, like investing in financial education, starting a new project, or even asking for a promotion, your brain activates the old habit of thinking that you're not good enough or that the risk is too great. This is a classic example of how an automatic thought pattern can prevent you from acting toward your goals. These repetitive thoughts, which are mental habits, become self-sabotage. You want to move forward, but your mind keeps pulling you back into familiar patterns of thought and behavior, which are often rooted in fear and doubt. Joe Dispenza calls this autopilot, a state in which the brain and body repeat patterns from the past, even when those patterns no longer serve your growth. But, as we've already discussed, the brain has an incredible capacity for change. If you understand how habits are formed and commit to creating new ones, you can literally rewrite the script of your life. Now that we know our automatic habits are the result of neural patterns in the brain, the next question is, how can we create new patterns? The answer lies in introducing new thoughts and emotions repeatedly until the brain creates new neural pathways. Joe Dispenza teaches that the process of changing habits begins with awareness. The first step is to observe your own automatic thoughts and behaviors. What do you think when you face challenges? What emotions do you experience when trying to reach an important goal? Are you acting according to old patterns of self-sabotage, or are you creating new behaviors aligned with the future you desire? This process of awareness is crucial because most of our mental and emotional habits operate below the surface of our consciousness. Only when we become aware of these patterns can we begin to change them. Real change happens when you replace old patterns with new ones. This requires consistent practice. Each time you consciously think a new thought or feel a new emotion that aligns with your goals, you are creating new neural connections. At first, this may seem difficult because the brain is used to following the old patterns. But over time, as you continue to practice new thoughts and behaviors, the brain begins to reorganize its connections. Let's say your goal is to improve your physical health. One of the habits you want to implement is exercising regularly. If you have the habit of procrastinating exercise, it's likely that there's an already established neural pattern that associates the idea of exercising with discomfort or lack of motivation. Every time you think about exercising, your brain activates this old pattern. To change this, you need to consciously create a new pattern. This can start with a simple thought: I choose to take care of my body because it makes me feel good. Repeating this thought and associating it with feelings of gratitude and well-being will start to create a new neural network in your brain. Over time, this new pattern will become as automatic as the old habit of procrastination. When you start introducing new thoughts and behaviors, the brain needs constant reinforcement for these new patterns to solidify. Dispenza explains that repetition is key. The more you practice a new behavior or thought, the stronger the neural connections associated with it become. That's why habits aren't formed overnight. The brain needs time to build these new connections. But with discipline and practice, the new habit becomes automatic, and the old patterns start to dissolve. The brain is programmed for efficiency, so as the new habit strengthens, it replaces the old neural pathways. Joe Dispenza reminds us that the brain is a powerful tool, capable of creating and transforming habits. By understanding the science of neuroplasticity and the role of neural patterns in habit formation, you can consciously take control of the process. The secret to achieving your goals lies in creating new habits of thought, emotion, and action that are aligned with the reality you desire. Your brain is ready to change. All you need to do is feed it the right thoughts, practice the right emotions, and take consistent actions. When you do this, you are literally rewriting the script of your life, one habit at a time.